Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Northside Baseball video. We got a little bit of a different video today, and I know people like watching these different videos. As some of you have seen in the news, there is a Major League Baseball player who is returning to the Cubs in a little bit of a different way. The Yankees player Anthony Rizzo is making a return, but not as a Cubs player, as a Cubs staff member. And we're
Yeah,
here to honor him and, talk about him. So, Brandon, let's talk Anthony Rizzo.
yeah. This is an important topic to me because Rizzo was my favorite player as a child. Growing up, as a Cubs fan, I had guys like Derek Lee and Aramis Ramirez. I had Carlos Pena for one season. There was tons. Carlos Zambrano was my guy as a kid, but. Once I got older, as I started to appreciate baseball more, I started to watch, games on a consistent basis. It was really Anthony Rizzo that, sort of became like that poster child for getting out of that rebuild and that beginning part of the Theo Epstein tenure. Obviously, I don't need to run down all his stats for everyone that is watching this video. People know who he was, but he was a three-time All-Star, a full four-time Gold Glove winner. He won a Platinum Glove at first base, which is really hard to do. Obviously, he won the 2016 World Series with the Cubs, which, if anyone who's anyone, that's probably the fondest memory of the Cubs that you have if you're still alive. Um, so I mean, it's just, he was constantly, in the top 10 of MVP voting for a little bit there. A 30 home run threat, 100 RBI guy. I mean, just he was such a joy to watch, both in the lineup, in the field. He was a complete leader of the team. I mean, that whole Brizzo movement when Chris Bryant came up and, him and Rizzo became sort of very close friends and, led the charge, for that 2016 championship run. I mean, it's so many fond memories. And obviously, when the Cubs traded him to the Yankees, there was a very bittersweet day that came with Javier Baez and Chris Bryant getting traded and a bunch of other guys getting traded at that deadline. And then obviously he went on to the Yankees, wasn't super great there. He did make the World Series again with them in 2024 in what ended up proving to be his final game as a player. But obviously, I think most people understood that he was towards the end of his career. He'd been struggling for a little bit in New York. And so I'm very pleased to see that he's returning to Chicago as a team ambassador, as it's being called, as you said, as a staff member. The Cubs have done a great job of this in recent years with bringing back fan favorite. Joe Girardi's in the booth. David Ross was the manager for a little bit. Ryan Dempster has been on marquee. They've done a really great job of keeping these fan favorites in house after their playing days, and I'm really pleased to see that Rizzo is going to be, in this capacity as well.
I'll also kind of give my thoughts. Well, one to Anthony Rizzo, an amazing player. I think it was a very dark day when he did leave Chicago for New York. I think it made, watching the Yankees a lot more interesting. But again, if you're a Chicago Cubs fan, you're like, well, screw that. I don't want to watch the Yankees. But again, it is a shame to see him, when he left and he retires in 2024. But to say that he's retiring with the Cubs is always an exciting thing to say. Well, he's going back to his roots at the end of the day. I always like to point out, and many people know this at this point, that I'm not only a fan of the Cubs, I'm a diehard Orioles fan.
Mhm.
I think about 2 years ago, many people know the player Adam Jones. Adam
Yeah.
Jones did the same thing. He left the Orioles to go play for another team, but he came back to the Orioles way after he left baseball to, again, retire with the Orioles. And he, again, became a team ambassador, just like Rizzo is now. And he works with the Orioles to, I think his like main title is like head of like entertainment or something because he's like a DJ. It doesn't matter. But the point is that the front office of whatever team brings back these players wants to keep them involved in not only the team but also the community because they know how important these players are to the fans at the end of the day, and that's what I appreciate about the Cubs bringing Rizzo in.
Yeah, no, it's if you were under the age of 25 between the years of 2010 and 2020, there's a good chance and you're a Cubs fan, there's a good chance Anthony Rizzo is your favorite baseball player of all time, or at least, your favorite baseball player from that era. I mean, he just mattered that much to Cubs fans, to again, that Cubs push, again, that rebuild was really tough from like 2012 to 2014. And then, again, Rizzo was really the first guy to become an all-star from that core. I think his first all-star now was in 2014. And again, he just became such a consistent presence in the middle of the lineup. He was such a good bat. I mean, again, everyone remembers he crowded the plate. He had this ridiculous two-strike approach where he choked all the way up on the bat. He got hit by pitches like every other game. I mean, it was the most just insane sort of, guy, who became a star, but he was a star in Chicago. I very firmly believe his number should be retired. We will see if that happens. I mean, we know that there's going to be a ceremony. I don't know if it's been said that his number is going to be retired. I don't think it will be, at least not yet. I could be wrong about that, but regardless, again, this is just a case of a franchise honoring an all-time franchise great. Again, he is one of 25, 26 guys who won that World Series ring in 2016. I mean, that is a very small fraternity to be a part of. And Rizzo was one of the three or four main contributors to that cause. So again, there's so much to say. There's so many favorite moments to talk about. There's so many legendary highlights. He struck out Freddie Freeman when he, was asked to go on the mound. He made that tarp catch, at first base. There's so much to talk about, but we'll push it off to you guys here because obviously everyone loves Anthony Rizzo. What was your favorite moment with him as a Cubs player? Did it come early on in his career? Did it come during that World Series run? Was it before he got traded? Let us know. As always, we'll try to respond to every comment.